Hello. Good morning. Today we are going to deal with the reticular activating system. This is another important system. We have finished sleep and speech, and this is also a very important system. It plays a very active role in our daily deciding our daily goals. Today we are going to discuss about the practical things about a reticular activating system and how it helps us in achieving a goal, and the excitatory and inhibitory centers in the reticular activating system. And I'm also going to give you some practical examples. And therefore, suppose next you are going to face the exam. Your present target is to pass in the exam, and therefore you plan according to it. And then it's not enough if you only plan for the exams. You have to execute the plan, and this execution part and all these things, it comes from the reticular activating system. It focuses your attention on the target. Suppose you are going from a place A to a place B, and your target is to reach place B. There are so many sidetracks in between. If you follow your target, you will achieve it quickly. Suppose you get diverted in between. If you go into some sidetrack, some side road or something like that, you get attracted and you go, then you may not be able to achieve the target. And then it may be delayed altogether. Your thoughts may be diverted and you may not be able to achieve the target. Therefore, reticular activating system plays a very important role in achieving your target. It's not enough if the thought comes into your mind. It should be planned and the plan should be executed. If you just plan and leave it, nothing will happen. It should be executed. That execution part requires the reticular activating system because it motivates you towards the goal. It motivates you. It prevents you from other unnecessary things from coming into your mind. Your full focus will be on your goal. Therefore, this reticular activating system plays a very important role in our daily life. It is this RAS is constantly present in your life. It's some 7 million sensory impulses. Some 7 million sensory impulses come in your mind all the time. Therefore, it is constantly present in your life. You cannot avoid it. 7 million sensory impulses come into your mind all the time. But all is not important. Screening of information occurs, priorities are streamlined, and mind focuses on it. Daily, 7 million sensory impulses are coming into your mind, but all are not important. Therefore, the brain tries to streamline. The priorities are streamlined, and mind focuses on it. It also alerts threats, some danger signals. We should notice those danger signals. Suppose something is going to happen to us, some threat due to some criminals, then it alerts. Then those danger signals should be anticipated and act accordingly. Therefore, reticular activating system plays a constant role in your life. Here's the reticular activating system. Here, this is the reticular activating system. The fibers are traveling. The excitatory fibers are coming from the pons and mesencaphalon of the midbrain, and the inhibitory center comes from the medulla. These fibers occupy the central part of the brainstem, and the other parts are occupied by the descending and ascending tracts. And then here from the brainstem, it goes to the cerebral cortex via thalamus. Some fibers may bypass the thalamus, and majority of the fibers go through the thalamus. And from here, they go to the various areas of the cerebral cortex, subcortical regions, where they synapse with the dendrites of the subcortical cells, and they change the membrane potential of this subcortical cells. Therefore, we have got this excitatory area in the pons and mesencaphalon of the midbrain, and the inhibitory center in the medulla. Therefore, this excitatory center excites the RAS, and inhibitory center tries to inhibit the RAS. And then from through the thalamus, they go to the various parts of the cerebral cortex. The brainstem is a sort of bridge between cerebrum and spinal cord. It is a bridge. The cerebral cortex lies in the upper part and the spinal cord of the lower part, caudal part, and therefore it is a sort of bridge between these two, and is also a bridge between cerebrum and cerebellum. Here lies the cerebellum. Brainstem is a bridge. Here it is a bridge. This is a spinal cord. Therefore, here it is a bridge. It lies in between. Now, in the brainstem, large number of descending motor fibers, pyramidal and extrapyramidal, descending motor fibers connect the cerebral cortex and they enter the spinal cord and pass through the brainstem. Therefore, in the brainstem, we have a large number of descending fibers, that is motor fibers, pyramidal and extrapyramidal, and at ascending fibers, that is posterior column, anterior lateral spinothalamic tracts. They carry different sensations, somatosensory sensations such as pain and temperature, position sense, vibration sense, 2-point discrimination, all these things. Therefore, there are descending fibers and ascending fibers. And in addition to these two are specific fibers. Descending pyramidal tracts and extrapyramidal tracts, and ascending sensory fibers. These are specific, we call them as specific fibers. But we also have another set of fibers known as non-specific fibers. These non-specific fibers are nothing but reticular activating system fibers. That's what we have been discussing now. The fibers arising from cerebral cortex also reach cerebellum. They also pass via brainstem. Therefore, it's a bridge. Brainstem is more or less a bridge between cerebral cortex and also cerebellum. Again, ascending fibers. They pass through the spinal cord via the brainstem to reach the cerebral hemispheres to carry various sensations that are ascending fibers again. The posterior column, anterior lateral spinothalamic tracts. These are ascending fibers. They go to the specific sensory areas in the cerebral cortex. The sensory is a somatosensory area number 312 is one such thing. In addition to these fibers, separate fibers. These are non-specific fibers and these are called as reticular activating system. These fibers convey impulses upwards to the thalamus, through the thalamus to the cerebral cortex. Some fibers also descend down to the spinal cord. Therefore, we have two sets of fibers, specific fibers and we have two sets of fibers, that is specific fibers and non-specific fibers. Specific fibers going through the brainstem, these are pyramidal, extrapyramidal, the descending fibers, and ascending fibers, spinothalamic tracts. This anterior and posterior spinothalamic tract. These are called as specific fibers. They are non-specific fibers, which they don't carry special specific impulses. They are non-specific, such as alertness, consciousness, all these things. These are non-specific. This is carried by a special type of fibers. These fibers are known as reticular activating system. And these fibers go upwards. Some fibers go upwards. Most of the fibers go upwards through the thalamus into the cerebral cortex. Some fibers may bypass the thalamus and directly from the midbrain, they may go to the cerebral cortex. Thus, two types of fibers proceed. Already we have seen specific fibers like spinothalamic and posterior tract fibers, lemniscal fibers, trigeminal fibers. These are specific information. They reach to a specific part, that is areas of the cerebral cortex. The more specific information like area number 312, we have already discussed in the while dealing with cerebral cortex, the different specific areas in the cerebral cortex where ultimately the sensory information reach. Yeah, the reticular activating system fibers occupying more or less the central part. Majority of the fibers pass through the thalamus, and from the thalamus they go to the various parts of the cerebral cortex. Some fibers may also bypass. A few fibers, some fibers also travel downwards towards the spinal cord, thereby controlling the spinal cord reflexes. Here's the medulla invertebral center. In the medulla invertebral center is there. In pons and mesencephalon, there's an excitatory center. These non-specific fibers of reticular activating system, they don't carry any specific impulse, but only general or non-specific. And they activate the whole of the cerebellum here. They activate whole of the cerebellum. They are non-specific, occupying the central portion of the midbrain, spinal cord. The lateral portions are occupied by the descending and ascending tracts, and from the thalamus, they go to the various parts. Here's the thalamus. So they are through the thalamus, they are going to the various parts of the cerebral cortex, and some fibers may directly go to the thalamus, directly go to the cerebral cortex, bypassing the thalamus. These are they occupy the mid portion. There we have got two pathways, specific and non-specific. These are non-specific. Most of the fibers pass through the thalamus to the areas of the different areas of the cerebral cortex, distributed all over the cerebral cortex. And some fibers, they are bypassing the thalamus and they are going directly to the cerebral cortex areas. Other fibers, they descend down to the spinal cord, downwards. Therefore, these are non-specific fibers. So, these are two areas of the excitatory area located in the pons and mesencephalon, and another area is called an invertebral area located in the medulla. The excitatory area excites the RAS and keeps a person alert and conscious. It is also called as bulboreticular facilitatory area. This excitatory area has another name called bulboreticular facilitatory area. If you remember, there are two areas. One is excitatory area, another is an invertebral area. Excitatory area is present in pons and mesencephalon, located in the reticular substance of pons and mesencephalon, and it excites the RAS. It keeps the person alert and conscious, and it also helps in appreciation of various sensations. A person who is asleep cannot appreciate all the sensations. Therefore, a person who is awake, he appreciates all the sensations. Therefore, it is excitatory center plays a key role in keeping the RAS in a lively condition. It is also called a bulboreticular facilitatory area. There are giant cells in this area. The giant cells in the reticular excitatory area of pons and mesencephalon, they in turn divide into two branches. The giant cells are present in the excitatory areas of pons and mesencephalon, which divide into two branches. One passing to brain, one passing through reticular spinal tract, another downwards, one in the upper direction, passing to the brain. Another downward direction, passing through reticular spinal tract into the spinal cord. Therefore, we have seen that the excitatory center is present in the pons and mesencephala, and joints also present in pons and mesencephala. Again, they are dividing into two branches. One branch is passing upwards into the cerebral cortex. That is via thalamus. Most of the fibers are passing via thalamus, but some fibers pass by passing the thalamus direct from the midbrain to the cerebral cortex. Another set of fibers descend downwards into the through the spinal tract into the spinal cord. Therefore, these are non-specific fibers in the excitatory areas. Yeah, cortical and subcortical areas of subbrain. We have got the central excitatory area. Here is the pons and mesencephala with the giant cells. It is a central excitatory area of the RS. Some fibers are going to the thalamus direct, and from the thalamus to cortical and subcortical areas of the brain. That is, they are ascending upwards. Another set of fibers are descending downward. Some fibers we are not shown in this figure, but some set of fibers go directly to the midbrain into the cerebrum, like this directly. So most of the fibers they are going here. And another set, the spinal cord reflexes are alerted by this RAS. When RAS is active, spinal cord reflexes are active. In a sleeping person, these reflexes are not active. Most of the time, the neurohormone secreted is acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the neurohormone secreted. It is the neurohormone secreted at the end of the RAS fibers. The RAS fibers secrete neurohormones. It is excitatory at most places, and therefore it keeps the person awake and the nervous system in an alert condition. Therefore, most of the hormone secreted is acetylcholine, which is excitatory at most places and keeps the person awake and excited. Here's the neuromuscular junction. Axon, myelin sheath. Here, the signals approach. Here, acetylcholine secreted. Most of it is an excitatory nature. Yeah. The synapse with the cerebral superficial cortical cells of the cerebral cortex. The synapse with the dendrites of the superficial cortical cells of the cerebral cortex, and they change the membrane potential. These neurohormones, excitatory neurohormones, they synapse with the superficial cerebral cortex cells and the dendrites of the superficial cerebral cortex cells, and they change the membrane potential and they make them active. These are multisynaptic. RS fibers are multisynaptic. They have, we have already discussed this point. The RS fibers multisynaptic. The path begins at the medulla and passes upwards via the pons and midbrain to reach the thalamus. To reach the thalamus, and from the thalamus to the cerebral cortex. Therefore, path is beginning is medulla and upwards. It travels upwards by the pons and midbrain to reach the thalamus. Here's the excitatory center. But as I go upwards to the cerebral cortex, it is not that they travel singly, but numerous collateral fibers. As we have told that ascending and descending fibers are traveling simultaneously by the side of the RS. Ascending fibers are going upwards and descending fibers are coming downwards. Therefore, the specific sensory RAS is guarded by two fibers on either side, that is ascending and descending fibers. And therefore, when it is conveying impulses to the brain, they receive numerous small collateral fibers from this specific sensory tract. In the middle, we have the RS. In the side, we have the descending tracts and also ascending tracts. And therefore, when the RA is traveling in the middle, it is also receiving side by side collaterals from this side tracts. Therefore, whatever information this spinothalamic tract is carrying, it is also communicating to the RS. Therefore, RS is also activated. I hope you have understood. The RS occupies the spinal cord is carrying two types of impulse. that is specific and non-specific. These specific impulses are spinothalamic tracts, the anterior lateral spinothalamic tract, posterior columns, all these things specific. Pyramidal tracts, the descending tracts, all these stigmata fibers. All these things are specific. In between these, in the center, we have a specifics and non-specific sensory tracts. It is concerned with only wakefulness, alertness, and consciousness. And therefore, what happens, it is traveling, it is, these fibers are also sending, the fibers which are at the side of the RAS, they are also sending collateral fibers to the RAS. Therefore, what happens, this information is also to some extent communicated to the RAS. Therefore, fibers of RAS are also activated. Therefore, RAS is also activated. It comes to know what's happening in the surroundings. This is the majority of the fibers relay. RAS fibers which are ascending upwards to the cerebral cortex. Majority of the fibers, they relay at the thalamic nuclei, as I've already told you. But a few they bypass it and they go directly from midbrain to cerebral cortex. Then what happens from the thalamic nuclei? What happens? Suppose the fibers of RAS have relayed at the thalamic nuclei. A second order neuron arises from the thalamus and they terminate on the every part of the cerebral cortex. Second order neuron arise. A fresh set of neurons arise and they terminate on the cerebral cortex. That is the course. These fibers, the fibers which are going through the thalamus and terminating on the cerebral cortex, they are known as non-specific thalamocortical projection fibers. The fibers which are going to the thalamus and then second order neurons arising from it, and again they are going to cerebral cortex. Therefore, these fibers are called non-specific thalamo, because it is arising from thalamus and going to the cortical region. We call it as non-specific thalamocortical projection fiber. The name itself tells you how the root of the fibers, the nature of the fibers. The name itself is giving a complete picture. Non-specific thalamocortical projection fibers. Therefore, this is the name given to these fibers. This is some fibers, as we already described, do not relay at thalamus, and from midbrain they proceed to the cerebral cortex bypassing the thalamus. The RAS fibers occupy the middle portion of the brainstem. The RAS fibers, that is non-specific fibers, they occupy the core means that is central portion of the brainstem. Whereas the specific fibers, that is the descending and ascending fibers, descending spinothalamic, ascending spinothalamic tract, corticospinal, descending corticospinal tracts. These are all specific fibers. They occupy the lateral parts of the brainstem. Now the RS fibers, the reticular activating system fibers contain many noradrenergic and serotonergic fibers. Noradrenergic and serotonergic fibers. They arise from the locus coeruleus and Raphe nuclei respectively. These fibers arise from locus coeruleus and Raphe nuclei respectively. What happens is, in the cerebral cortex, these RS fibers synapse with the dendrites of the superficial cortical cells. RS fibers contain noradrenergic, and all these arise from the locus coeruleus and serotonergic fibers. They arise from the Raphe nuclei. In the cerebral cortex, what happens is, these RS fibers, they come in contact with the dendrites of the superficial cortical cells, and then they change the membrane potential of the dendrites of the superficial cortical cells. The RS fibers are coming into contact with the dendrites of the subcortical cells, superficial cortical cells, and they create they are changing the membrane potential of the dendrites of the superficial cortical cells. And here it is. Here, the fibers are here. RS fibers, Raphe nuclei, locus coeruleus, and they come into contact with the dendrites of the superficial cortical cells, and they change the membrane potential of those cells. They come into contact with the superficial cortical cells, raphe nuclei, mucus surface, ends of the RAS. They are releasing the neurotransmitters. They combine synapse with the dendrites of the superficial cortical cells, and they change the membrane potential of these cells. Here, membrane potential alteration is seen when the RAS fibers come into contact with the dendrites of the superficial cortical cells, and therefore, change in membrane potential occurs, and the RAS becomes activated. RAS becomes activated. Change in the membrane potential of these dendrites of the superficial cortical cells. The different centers such as respiratory center are also regarded as part of RAS. Now let's see where's the inhibitory center. Activating center, we have seen that it is in the pons and mesencephalon of the midbrain. Activating center, and they are having the giant cells. The activating center, that is excitatory centers, is in the pons and mesencephalon, and they are having a number of giant cells, and these giant cells are sending fibers upwards and downwards. Two sets of fibers, one going upwards to the cerebral cortex, another coming downwards. Another center is the inhibitory center. Now it is located medially and ventrally in the medulla. Here's the inhibitory center. It is located medially and ventrally. Medially and ventrally in the medulla. Located medially and ventrally in the medulla. This area has a capacity to inhibit the reticular facilitatory center. This can inhibit the actions of the exciter. That is, it can reduce the excitation of the reticular excitatory center inhibition. From becoming overactive, it can inhibit the reticular, the upper brainstem. It can inhibit. They excite serotonergic neurons and secrete serotonin, which is an inhibitory hormone. Therefore, the main function is to secrete serotonin, which is an inhibitory hormone. Therefore, we have already seen that RAS fibers contain both noradrenergic and serotonergic neurons. And these serotonergic neurons, when excited, they produce serotonin, which is an inhibitory hormone, which inhibits RAS. Thereby, a person activity is reduced. Suppose a person wants to sleep. Therefore, his RAS is inhibited. Yeah, inhibitory area. Coming to the inhibitory area, the entire extent of the medulla. It occupies entire extent of the medulla. Yeah, entire extent of the medulla is occupying this inhibitory area. One is the motor cortex. This is the motor cortex, cerebellum, basal ganglia, cerebellum, motor cortex. This side view, we are giving a lateral view. Motor cortex, basal ganglia, cerebellum, inhibitory area. Inhibitory area, and this is an excitatory area. This is an excitatory area in the pons and mesencephalon. Inhibitory area in the medulla, cerebellum, basal ganglia, motor cortex. This is a vestibular nucleus. Now let's see what are the functions of RAS. Functions of RAS. Suppose RAS is stimulated. There is a wakefulness and alertness. The person feels wakeful, is fully awake, and alertness, and becomes fully conscious. That is, the person is alert, is fully awake, is able to understand what's happening in the surroundings, and the subject becomes fully conscious of what he is doing. This alertness is very important for perception of the various senses. The body cannot perceive various senses unless it is alert. A sleeping person cannot perceive all the senses properly. Therefore, a person should be alert and therefore wakeful and should be fully conscious. Then only a person for various senses, suppose as an example, a touch sensation, a 2-point discrimination, vibration sense, all these senses. A person should be awake to appreciate these senses. The other functions are, it mainly controls sleeping. That is, a person will, if RIS is active, the person will be active. If RIS is impaired, it falls into sleep. It is responsible for the waking condition of the person. Attention, the person's attention, he pays attention when his RIS is working properly. It's a sophisticated filter. Filter means a number of thoughts are coming, some 7 million thoughts all the time, so 7 million thoughts are coming into the brain. All are not important. All are not important. Only some are important. Therefore, it is a sophisticated filtering mechanism. Only important points will be written, others should be filtered out. Therefore, it is a sophisticated filter mechanism. Suppose you are, out of those 7 million thoughts, all are not important. Therefore, you think what is important, what is your goal, what thoughts should be in your mind to achieve that goal. And therefore, this is a sort of filtering mechanism. It creates a blind spot to the junk, means all unnecessary thoughts are thrown into the junk, into the dustbin. Suppose all unnecessary thoughts. All unnecessary thoughts should be thrown into the junk, and this plays an important role in this. A person who thinks positively and aims at his goal, and only what is important, if he returns, then he will be achieving his goal almost completely in 100% goal he might achieve. Unnecessary thoughts means all the junk thoughts, all things, if you keep in your mind, you may not be able to achieve your target. Acts like an executive assistant. It guides us. It guides us to tell us what is important, what is not important. It is an executive assistant. Always allows you to focus on what you value. You have some, suppose you meet a person, you have some value about that person, you have some thoughts about that person, you value that person for some reason. Therefore, it allows you to focus on what you value. It allows you to perceive a threat. Suppose there's a danger nearby. There's a danger. It allows you to react. The thought processes changed immediately, and therefore you escape from the danger. Allows you to perceive a threat. Supports you when you set goals. Suppose you set a goal, that it achieves you to target that goal, to do things you have planned properly. If you don't, if your RAS is not working in the right direction, you may not achieve the goal. If unnecessary things come into your mind and you sidetrack you have the goal, it's all right if you have the goal, but to achieve the goal, you have to focus in the right direction. And this, avoiding unnecessary thoughts and going the right direction, is helped by the RIS. Only an alert subject, only a conscious subject, it can censor any type of sensation. Suppose conversely in the RIS is inverted, subject falls asleep. All sensations are appreciated only when the person is in a conscious state. Suppose RIS is inverted by the medullary center. Suppose it's inverted, then the subject may fall to sleep. Other functions are consciousness is the main, we have already seen, sleep and arousal. Active stage, it is arousal, and an RIS is inverted, it is a sleep. And to some extent, it controls the heart rate and blood pressure also, and it also controls respiratory control to some extent. Modulation of non-specific sensory information. Non-specific sensory information, that is non-specific sensory information, that is consciousness, alertness, all these things, that is modulated by the RIS. What is important, what is not important. That all unimportant things are thrown into a junk, and this is modulated by the RIS. Adjustment of reflexes. Some RIS excitatory fibers are also going into spinal cord. reflexes, the adjustment of reflexes occurs in postural control, not but not least, but not but last. Then applied physiology. Lesions of the RAS in experimental animals. In experimental animals, we have created a lesion in the RAS, and it has been seen that they fall into interminable sleep lesions in the RAS. We have created an artificial lesion in the animals and the labs, and seen and falls into sleep and coma. Humans also, suppose the RAS has been damaged, lesions in the excitatory area of the brain, midbrain. Therefore, the person goes into a prolonged sleep and coma. Benzodiazepine and barbiturates. These are the two drugs which act at the synaptic levels of RAS. Thereby, they prevent synaptic transmission. They block the synaptic benzodiazepines and barbiturates. They act at the synaptic levels of RAS. Thereby, prevent transmission of the impulses so that RAS is inhibited. These are the two drugs. Here it is. Benzodiazepines here released, they prevent transmission. Many anesthetics, they also act in the synapses of the RAS. They also act on the synapses of the RAS. Many anesthetic drugs, they block the synaptic transmission and thereby produce anesthesia. Many anesthetic agents, they act on the synapses of the RAS. That is, they block the synaptic transmission and thereby produce anesthesia. In this way, they can produce sedation, hypnosis, and anesthesia. These are used technically. Many anesthetics, they also act in the synapses. They are used technically for surgeries and all. This anesthetic drugs are used. Now coming to the summary, I hope you have understood what actually the RAS does to our mind and how it helps us to focus our attention on the target. Now we will see a few practical examples also. Now coming to the summary, RAS works on what you focus on. If you focus on a particular subject, the mind will be thinking of that only. If you focus on positive things, the mind will be thinking about that only. You have to change your focus towards good thing, towards your target. Set good targets and focus your RAS towards it. Change your mindset. Negative thoughts are not always good. Always bring about positive thoughts. You should not say that I cannot do, I cannot read, I cannot face exam. All these things are negative thoughts. Therefore, you focus, you put a target, you set a target in your mind, and you work towards the target. You firstly think that I can do it, and your RAS will always think that you will do it, and your actions will be in that direction only. Say I can do that. I am confidence. What you think about, you bring about. Whatever you think in your mind, you bring about. Therefore, always say, I can do that. I am confidence. Therefore, always think about positively, and 90% time you will be successful. Positive thoughts strengthens RAS, helps to reach the target. Negative thoughts weakens RAS and becomes obstruction to reach a goal. Therefore, negative thoughts are always well. You always say that I can do it, I am confident, and therefore your thoughts should be in that direction all the time. But taking some practical examples, suppose a gardener is there. Whatever seeds you put into the soil, you get that plant. A gardening, you put some seeds on the soil, you only get that plant. You cannot get any other plant or you whatever you put into the soil, only that you will get. If you suppose you say I cannot do it, and if you do not spray anything, you first only you think negatively and say, even if I put the seeds, nothing will happen, or the soil is not good, or the seeds are not good, and nothing will happen. Why should I do this? You should not do that. If you do not spray anything, you do not get anything. You spray something and try to get something. Example, another example is a teacher may be teaching physiology. You may be looking at the teacher. We will be teaching in the classroom, and your 150 students may be looking at the teacher. And externally, we think you are all listening because you will be staring at the face. That in blinking, you will be staring at the face, either talking or nothing, but you will be staring at the face. Therefore, we will be thinking that students are attentive and they are listening very carefully. But not all, but some people, nothing registers in their mind. Nothing registers in the mind. This is because you may be just staring at your face. You may be thinking about what to do after classes are over. Therefore, simply staring at the face is not taken for granted as if he has understood everything while listening. He may be thinking, his brain may be roaming about. That is body present and mind absent like that. You may be thinking about what to do after class. Here, RS focus is not on present situation, but your goal is different. Here, the focus is not on the running class, present class, but your goal is different. To plan what to do after the classes are over. So to make your dreams fruitful, your goal should be definite. Then only your RS should focus on it. Suppose if you simply dream, nothing will happen. Your goal should be definite. You should first set a goal, and then you plan accordingly, and then try to achieve that goal. Your RS should focus on it. The role of trainer is also important. MCQs and interactive sections play a major role in these cases. Suppose they save the students from distraction and try to focus the attention on the goal. Suppose we are giving MCQs and we had interactive sections before you went to the holidays. Therefore, these interactive sections, we were talking with each other. We were trying to communicate early, trying to talk with each student. Therefore, the chances of the student getting distracted is very less. MCQs also, time is fixed. And you have 4 options. By the time you think of the 4 options and you put it there, the time is over. There's no time for your mind to roll anywhere. Therefore, that is also important. Therefore, interactive sections are very important. Small group teaching that we will be focusing, you will be focusing, everything. These are all very important role in not allowing your RS from diverting from the goal. Then distraction, these are important in saving from distraction, and they play a major role in attention taking. Another example, suppose you are reading a book. Suppose you are reading an interesting book and you get deeply involved in it. Suppose you are reading, you are sitting alone and you are reading. Even if the people around you are talking, laughing, it does not register in your mind. You are reading an interesting book, sitting all alone in a room. Some people have entered into your room and they start talking and laughing. It does not register in your mind. Why? Because you don't get disturbed because your RS is fully focused on reading. You are not disturbed in this case because your RS is fully focused on, you are interested in that book. You are reading, you are deeply involved in that book. And your RS is fully focused on reading and you don't care whatever happens outside. And therefore, that is how RIS is focused on the target. Another example, suppose a CEO of a big company is conducting a meeting. The CEO of a big company is conducting a company meeting. Many participants give suggestions. Many the shareholders or whatever may be, they give suggestions, different type of suggestions. Members they give, members of that company, particular members, they start giving their own suggestion. He cannot take all the suggestions, but he focuses only on important and useful suggestions. Other points don't register in his mind. Therefore, a number of suggestions will come in his way, but only important suggestions, important suggestions and useful suggestions are registered and he takes them into consider. This is where the RAS comes focus on the target. His target is to take important suggestions and to plan the future according to it. He covers all other junk suggestions, they are thrown out. But he listens to all, but those don't register in his mind. Other points, they are just not considered. Therefore, this is how your mindset should be. You should focus on your target, and the role should be your. Then only you will be able to achieve the goal. RAS also alerts threats. Suppose a mother of a newborn baby is sleeping, and if she hears the baby cry, suppose a mother of a newborn baby is sleeping. In the middle of the night, if she hears the baby cry, then she suddenly awakens. Therefore, RAS here, all the crying is a threat there, and therefore RAS also alerts threats. Another example, suppose a dog is barking continuously in the street. Suppose a dog is barking in the street. Then also your neighbor sleeps peacefully without any disturbance. Dog is barking ferociously, neighbor is sleeping peacefully without any disturbance, but you are not able to sleep. One person is sleeping, the other person is not able to sleep. This is because your neighbor does not consider it as a threat. It doesn't bother about the threat. His RAS is not registering it as a threat. It is just avoiding it. But you are considering it as a threat. Therefore, you are not able to. But you are not able to sleep. But because you are considering it as a threat, your RS has been activated, and you are not. That does not. You are not able to sleep. But the other person is able to sleep because he does consider it as a threat, and therefore his RS is not activated. Suppose you want to buy a new car. Another example. Suppose you want to buy a new car. You will be looking at all the advertisements relating to the different cars, even while passing on a way. Suppose you are planning to buy some car. Suppose you will be observing all the advertisements, rates and different discounts and all the colors and all these things you will be observing keenly because you want to purchase and you want to buy the best from the money you can spare. Therefore, you are looking at all advertisements. Suppose you don't have the thought of buying a car. Initially, you're not having, you don't pay any attention to the displays. You don't find. Suppose you want to buy a car only, then only the thought comes of looking at the rate and the color and the discounts and all these things. It comes into your mind. RAS becomes active. But if you're not having the thought of buying anything, that car or anything, you don't pay any. This applies to any article. Any article, if you're interested in buying, you will start surveying it. Surveying the discounts and on the rate and on where you get the cheaper one and which one is best. All these things you start considering. The RAS becomes very active, but you don't have the thought. You don't bother whatever displays are on the road or whatever they are on the signboards. You don't bother about that. This is where the RAS is, how this RAS works. This shows that RAS focus on what you think. What you think about, you bring about. Therefore, this clearly shows your RAS focuses on what you think. Therefore, it clearly shows what you think about, you bring about. Hence, focus your RAS on positive things. Achieve your goals. Avoid unnecessary negative thinking. What you think about, you bring about. And this is clearly shown. WYTA type R. If you want to be happy, set a goal. You want to be happy, set a goal that commands your thoughts, liberates your energy, and inspires your hopes. Thank you. See you in our next class. Hope you have understood by the various examples I have given you how the RAS works. I hope you have understood.
దీని మీద చెప్పింది ఎంతవరకు వింటున్నారో ఏమిటో అనిపించాలని
భయం ఈ మ్యాటర్ అంతా వస్తుందేమో మరి ఇప్పుడు